Thanks for tuning in to Watch the Ordinary Filmmaker. It's Monday, November the 15th, 2021. This video isn't so much about camera gear, although I want to reference the Canon EOS R5, which has been hard to get for the past, well, year. However, if you did pre-order early on, you got that in due order. It didn't matter where you were in the world. Well, about 12 months ago, Microsoft released the Xbox Series X, their new gaming console. Now, Microsoft, like Canon, Nikon, and others, has had the same supply constraint issues. And even today, they're having trouble fulfilling orders. In fact, if you check around the world, it's completely sold out. Well, Monday, November the 15th is a special day. That's when the Halo Infinite Edition comes out. And if you get this edition and you like Halo, you're basically saving about $20 to $30 Canadian off the regular price, or about $20 US. So, of course, I checked last night. There was no pre-order. Everything was out of stock. I checked this morning, same thing. But apparently, there were some available in store, but they didn't say that online. It just said, out of stock. Microsoft's own website, out of stock across all retailers in Canada. A little bit frustrating. So, I called the store and they said, yep, out of stock. We did have some earlier on. And see, this is the frustrating thing. This is the second Christmas. Now, the first Christmas, I said, okay, you know what? No big deal. I'll get it next Christmas. I don't care. I'm not going to jump through hoops. I've got too busy of a life. I've got a job. I've got a YouTube channel. I've got a family. And you know what? If they're not going to make it available, I'm not going to buy it. Well, this year, it's kind of irritating me a bit more. And it's partly because shortly after I got off the phone with Best Buy, I checked online at kijiji.ca, which is a Canadian version of eBay without the fees. So I took a look, and sure enough, they had them for $1,250, $1,500 for, and they said it right in the description. Yeah, we just got this from Best Buy. Would you like to buy it? Original receipt, you name it. And I was rather irked. You see, if you've got the time to spend in line, if you're a scalper, you know how to check on the information. You're paying people off on the inside, or you got friends who can tell you about it, and you're able to get in there early and clear out stock. And this is really, really frustrating because, you see, if Microsoft had implemented a pre-ordering system like, well, Canon or Nikon did, well, as long as you got there within the first few hours, you knew that there was a queue system that you were going to get it in short order. And if it took you 6 months, it took you 6 months. That's just how it was. But not here. And to me, this is one of those things that really goes against the customer experience. It really ruins it. And the customer experience is everything from when you go to purchase something to when you set it up, use it on a daily basis. It's everything you do with that system. So I thought, you know what, I'm going to call in. I'm going to use Microsoft's online support. I thought I clicked all the right buttons to get to the right people. Well, the first person I got to said, well, thank you for your feedback, sir. I'll pass this along to make sure that we, your standard canned response, the kind of canned response that says, this is a family channel, so I'm not going to swear, but more or less, yeah, whatever. You got anything else you want to talk about? And I said, well, can I escalate this? Because I understand you don't have any authority, but I figure the best way to help draw attention to this is to make a bit more noise, and then maybe the company, squeaky wheel, might address it somehow. Because really, how hard can it be to set up a pre-order system? Many companies have done that already. And I still, no, sir, we'll take your feedback, but do you have any error messages? I said, I'm sorry, error messages? What is the problem that I was conveying to you? I want to make sure that we're on the same wavelength here. And it wasn't quite clear. And she said, well, you weren't able to get an Xbox Series X. I said, yes, so why would you ask me if there's an error message? And I just got the sense that it's all scripted, they don't care. And so I thought, you know what, I want to escalate this. Whether I have to go all the way to Redmond, I want to escalate this. So at first she said, well, we can't escalate the call. I said, well, okay, look, I want to be honest with you, and I'm not going to mention your name, which I haven't. But you see, I have a YouTube channel here, and I figured the best way for me to help influence and raise this issue up, even though my channel's regularly on camera gear and filming techniques and all that sort of stuff, content creation, it's my way of making a little bit more noise. Now, if you want to tell me that, give me just a canned response that really says you don't care, and that's what I'm going to say, and that you can't escalate my call, that's fine. Now, I'm not going to mention your name. She says, well, okay, let me transfer you. So apparently they could escalate my call. And what's really annoying about this whole system too is I don't know what it is with Microsoft and their call centers, at least from a consumer retail level, but every time I've called them in the last 3 months, when I do get a hold of a person, and they do call back pretty quickly, it always sounds like they're underwater. It's hard to understand what they're saying. And if that person happens to have a different accent or a thick dialect, it makes the communication process so much more difficult, because even somebody who speaks perfectly clear English in the same dialect that I speak, when you take that sort of underwater and you change it to it's very unclear, and I don't know what's going on. I don't know if they're restricted. I don't know if they're trying to put as many calls through a single line as possible. I don't know, but it's infuriating. So finally, I get transferred, and I was honest with the person. I said, look, this is the problem statement that I have. Reiterate my problem statement. What the first level support said, and I said, look, I want to be honest with you. I have a YouTube channel. I'm not going to mention your name, but I'm trying to figure out what is Microsoft going to do about this. That person got about one word out, and then it went completely dead. No dropped call, but completely silent. Nothing. And at one point I heard like a little fraction of a second, I heard some more audio coming through, then nothing, and then a dropped call. And this isn't the first time I've had this. I had another issue related to billing. It took me calling back over 3 months, because every time I get through, after a while I get a dropped call. And I thought, you know what? I'm not going to spend 3 hours on this. This is a work day. This is my lunchtime right now, and I thought, you know what? I'm just going to skip all that. I'm going to get out there. I'm going to put out a video. I'm going to create as much noise as I can. And I want to know what kind of experience you've had here, because it seems to me, as long as they can get their units shipped and sold, they're good for the quarter. The customer experience be damned. And I'm not happy with that. I'm not okay with that. Whenever Apple releases something, immediately you can go onto the web store. They tell you what the shipping date is. You can pre-order it, and you know that you're generally going to get it within that shipping date or a little sooner. You know somebody isn't going to get it ahead of time unless, of course, they went to the store, and the stores get different stock. But you have a way of ensuring you're going to get stock. Same with Canon, same with Nikon, same with Sony. And that's what's really frustrating here. There's a simple solution that they can put in some sort of pre-order system, so that way, you know what? I want to get it in time for Christmas. Let's go ahead and put in the order a couple of months early. And I did. I didn't wait till today to do this. I started looking several months ago, and out of stock, out of stock, out of stock. No pre-order option. Even it says pre-order, but on Best Buy it says pre-order, but online and the other option completely out of stock. So you're left with going, maybe they don't understand what the word pre-order actually means, is that you put your information down, as soon as it comes in, we give you one. How hard is this to grasp? And I think that's really tough too. There was a movie with Arnold Schwarzenegger that came out a couple of years ago that looked at trying to get toys in the last day before Christmas. And this is November the 15th. This is more than a month ahead of time, and I started looking for this 2 months ago. Still, nothing. And I'm not going to wait in line at a store. I'm not going to get there 2 hours early, because I've got a busy life. I've got other things I want to do. And I'm not saying that Microsoft is a bad company. I use a lot of their products, and I actually think the gaming experience is pretty good. When I do sit down to play it, yes, almost every time I turn it on, I've got to install an update before I can do anything. But I just bake that in. I figure, the first half an hour of anything I do on an Xbox is doing some sort of update. Now, for you daily gamers, no, you don't have that. But for a weekly gamer, I sit down and play with my son, and what I'm going to fall back on, this is what I'm going to do, is I'm just going to stick with my old Xbox One. We probably won't getting another one for Christmas. I will check in from time to time, especially around Black Friday, but I really don't expect things to change. This is a case of a company, while they may say otherwise, their actions indicate that they just don't care about that part of the customer experience. They don't care that scalpers are able to get in line, get a bunch of these things, and immediately turn around and sell them for twice the price that we would pay. And I just don't see the point of that. And I tried to reach out to some of them to try and get them to tell me, their experience and how they go through this. But it is really, really frustrating. It's annoying beyond all means. And I'd like to know what you think about this. Are you having the same problems? And is it just the Microsoft? Are you having problems being able to pre-order and get other products too? And I did a video not too long ago where I looked at the reason why we're in this situation. This is not particularly a Microsoft problem. It's related to so many different issues across the supply chain, from shipping to shipping containers to dozens of container ships queued in ports like Long Beach, LA, and Vancouver. There's also shortage of staff to run the ports, to remove the shipping containers off the ships, to truck them out, to take them to stores. It's a very big issue. And then we've got component shortages, we've got semiconductor shortages. And in different parts of the world, we have countries that are going back to a sort of, don't come to the office thing, work from home again. And there's a lot going on, I get that. But you see, when you do have issues, there's a way of tackling that. And you can say, look, how can we make this a better experience for our customers? How can we minimize scalping? And there are some industries where they just don't care about scalping. As long as they get their money at the end of the day, and concerts, for example, a lot of scalping goes on there. And again, here, 12 months out. So this is my rant. May not be the best video I put out in a while, but if you're in the same boat as me, this is just my way of trying to raise this issue a little bit more. And if you agree, go ahead and like and subscribe if I find out more, if Microsoft gets back to me on this, because sometimes you'd be surprised at what goes on behind the scenes. I've had many companies reach to me behind the scenes and talk about some of the issues, and then of course I'll follow up with another video. But the next video you're likely going to see from me is going back to covering camera gear and news such as the new Nikon Z9 or the Canon R5C, or what Panasonic is going to do with the GH6. Remember we had a registration in Russia indicating that we're probably going to get that camera announced sometime within the next 3 months. That's what I normally talk about. So do me a favor, if you like this content, go ahead and click subscribe and like. It really does help this channel grow, and I take it as a virtual pat on the back. And Microsoft, if you're watching, please, you know what, when we do call in for support, invest in decent quality lines so that we can actually clearly hear your staff. I shouldn't have trouble understanding what they're saying because it sounds like they're talking underwater. And they fiddle around, they try different things, and they speak a little clearer, they speak a little louder, but because it feels like there's a filter there making them sound underwater, it leaves me frustrated to the point where I feel like just giving up sometimes, but I don't. And the number of drop calls I've had, one of the issues I had with billing, the reason it went on so long is because every time I called in, there was a problem getting through, or the first time, I don't even want to get into that. It's just, you're making it hard for us. And I'm actually a customer of yours looking at buying more stuff. But when you make the call-in process difficult, like Samsung, they're terrible too. I called them up the other day and I told them exactly what it was related to with my stove. And you know what? They said, yep, no problem. They forwarded me off and I got into something completely unrelated. Microsoft and Samsung are proving to be one of the two most unreliable customer support services, making the customer experience terrible. They might make great products and services, but that experience is tarnished through support. But that's it for now. I don't know how long I've been ranting on for. Oh, a good 14 minutes. Well, I better end now. It gives me 15 minutes to start the editing process, and hopefully I'll have this out by, well, when I finish work. We'll just have to wait and see. But yeah, I'm so frustrated. I'm sorry for ranting. I can't stop. I just... And for those of you thinking, maybe I just switched to Sony, well, I already have a PS4 down here. You see, I've got an Xbox One and a PS4. But one of the reasons I wanted to go to the Xbox One series is you know, why did I want to go? Do I really need to go? Halo Infinite will work on the Xbox One. There's that. I'm wondering, maybe I should just go buy a used Xbox One X. Get that for a couple of $100. I know what you're thinking. Yeah, they'll probably raise the price. The used market price will be up. Well, we'll see. You know what? If that's the case, I won't spend my money on the Xbox. We'll just leave it. We'll continue doing what we normally do, and we'll find a way to spend our money elsewhere. But anyhow, thank you so much for tolerating my long-winded rant. Let me know in the comment section down below your experience with this and your frustration with this particular scenario or other scenarios. Thanks so much for watching. We'll see you again soon.